Have you ever wondered why some GEPF members seem to thrive in resignation while others burn their funds in a flash? Are you worried that you might run out of money if you had to resign? Now, I've worked with GEPF members who have both soared and sunk financially after leaving the service. Just yesterday, I consulted with two different individuals, and their stories are as different as day and night. One individual, only 6 months into resignation, has depleted over R1 million from their one-third payout. They're now facing a grave financial crisis. On the other hand, the other member has grown the capital by over 1.5 million in just 4 years, living comfortably and splurging on holidays. Now, you might ask, what makes the difference? The answer is simple. It's discipline. It's the unseen, yet powerful factor that plays a massive role in how your financial future will unfold post-retirement or resignation. Now, in today's video, I'm going to do a deep dive into the hidden perspective of discipline. I will explore its profound impact on your crucial decision on whether you should retire or resign from GEPF. I'll also uncover the costly mistakes that are made by members and how, with a little discipline and foresight, you can avoid them. So let's get started straight away, having a look at the difference between retiring and resigning, and then starting to see how discipline plays a role. Now, first, I want to start sharing with you from a control perspective, the option of retiring and resigning, and then we're going to start to have a look at how discipline plays a role. Bearing in mind that the two options, retiring and resigning, is very different. If you opt to retire, you know that everything is sort of predetermined for you. It's calculated for you. So the gratuity is predetermined, right? GEPF will tell you exactly how much they'll provide. Your income, it's also predetermined. It's determined by GEPF. So you know those figures, you can't really go and adjust it. Right? You have to take what is there, what's given to you. On the flip side, if you are aiming at resigning, the options are a lot more extensive. Remember, you're moving your money away from GEPF. So this is where the pool of money sits within GEPF. And you are moving your funds away from GEPF unless you're taking out on cash. I'm assuming you watched the video where I talk about the tax consequences. But chances are you're going to move to an approved fund, bearing in mind there are different approved funds that you want to look at, right? So you want to make sure that you get that done properly. And then you get access to 1/3 here, which is your cash. And usually the 1/3 payout is a lot more than your gratuity payout. Then in addition to that, you have access to the 2/3 income here. And on the 2/3 income, there are 5 different options for you to earn an income. So if you had to compare from a flexibility and a control perspective, there's no doubt about it, resignation offers a lot more. It offers a lot more. You've got 5 options here for earning an income versus 1 option for earning an income here if you retire. And the lump sum that you collect here is usually much higher than the gratuity benefit. But if that's the case, why is it such a challenge? And this is where I want to share with you today about discipline. And we'll go into the details of the 2 members that I want to share with you. And a lot of this has to deal with how you manage your money currently. See, now in the first case with the member who is depleting capital, the member had come into resignation with a significant amount of debts. Now, it's been a history of not managing money well. So this is 30 plus years of poor financial management, right? Poor financial management. And you can't change that in a flash. You see, even at the time that you're aiming at, if you're aiming at resigning, and you might have the degree of flexibility. Notice it's the same advisor. I'm offering the same, it's obviously customized, but I'm using my expertise to give these 2 members advice in terms of which route is best. And the same would apply for you. I will give you the ability, let's say we connect, I'm giving you the information in order to know which option is best for you. But I'm still dependent on you following through on the advice. And this is where the discipline comes in. So in the case of the first member, a lot of debts were present, poor financial management. And then I helped this member to create a plan. Now, the plan that I created was obviously customized for this member. And in this plan, the goal was to settle all debt. And in addition to that, we were creating an emergency fund. Because things come up, we were creating a savings. See, we had a pool of capital on that end in order to work this well. On the investing side, so on the 2/3 side here, I showed the member how to invest the money, and we were actually growing capital. So this end was working. Pardon me. So here we were able to grow capital. And it's working because when I do the reviews on a monthly basis for this member, I can see the capital growing. But here's the challenge. In this instance, I'm requiring the member to follow through with the plan, but the member hadn't followed through. See, none of these things were done properly. The debt was settled to some extent, but not fully. And a lot of other hidden expenses, new expenses started to come through. And when the new expenses started to come through, it ate away the capital. And this member had a significant amount of money, well over R1 million, which is unaccounted for and just 6 months after resignation. So I want you to see that that's a massive amount of money that just vanished into thin air. And the problem here comes in with discipline. If there's a lack of discipline, if you haven't been managing money for a long time throughout your working career, it's very difficult at a later stage to get into managing it well. And this is where you have to consider the decisions carefully, because whilst resignation might offer you more flexibility, more control over your money, if you lack the discipline to manage that money well, it doesn't matter how good I am in giving you advice. I can show you how to save on tax. I can show you techniques to grow your capital. I can show you techniques to create emergency funds, to save. I can show you the results and get you to a good position like how I helped other members. However, I'm still dependent on you following through on the advice. And if you're in a position where you can't follow the advice, then naturally you're not going to see the full benefits of this. In which case, I know this is going to sound strange, but resignation is not a good option for you. It shouldn't be considered if you lack the discipline, you see. Then you want to consider retirement. And the reason why I'm saying retirement might be better if there's a lack of discipline is in this instance, you are sort of forced. See, you are forced, meaning you are forced to take the gratuity. You're forced to take the income. You can't really adjust these figures. And because you're forced to take it, see, the mind is strange, right? We tend to work with what we have. So if you are given a certain amount of money, you're going to live your life according to that standard. You see, you just keep going according to that standard. Whereas on the resignation side, if you lack the discipline, knowing that you can access more options for income, you can access a higher capital, this then puts you at risk. Because what if you end up using all of the capital very quickly? Then it puts your future at a greater risk. Compared to, again, if you are aiming at retiring, you know that the income is set, it's secure, and you can't really jeopardize it. So this is a hidden factor because most members don't consider this. You might not even thought of the role that discipline has to offer. Now let's look on the flip side. If you are very disciplined, I now want to share with you what happened with a member who had phenomenal results. So let's take a look at that. Now, the same structure, this member had opted to resign, and I offered a lot of guidance in terms of how to create this well. So I showed the member how to choose the right approved fund and how to protect capital from the markets. And the member then followed the guidance, you see. So it was a big win. We were able to save a significant portion of tax here. Then I guided the member in terms of pre-98 benefits when it came here in terms of the 1/3, how to position that. And in this instance, we saved a fortune because the tax for this member ended up being 0 on the 1/3, on that portion that was getting paid out, because the member had followed the guidance that I was providing for the member. Now, again, I'm not saying I can do the identical thing for you. I don't know your set of circumstances, but I'm sharing with you based on this member's circumstances, how this member had the discipline to follow the guidance and what was the outcome. Now, from this pool of money here, because the member had additional savings, there were a separate retirement annuity, there was other cash in the bank, we were able to split this money up. So we had pockets of money that were kept for different intervals. Now, here's an important thing. You can't put all of your money with an insurance company. You have to separate this. You want to keep some of your money with an insurance company, and that should be paying your set income. You see, that's the bankable amount of money. This is the way I like to plan, though. This is the bankable amount of money, and this is the money that you don't want to get finished. Then you want to have some money here which you want to enjoy. You want to splurge. You want to do the holidays. You want to get the new set of vehicles. You want to do things to enjoy and to lead a more fulfilling and more lovely life, right? Catch up on the things that you never got to catch up on previously. Now, in terms of this planning for this member, all of those steps were created, but the member has been very disciplined with how the member has been managing this. So we still have the capital that's sitting in here. We're managing it from a tax perspective. The member's able to do the holidays. The member's able to do things for kids and grandkids and all the things that the member wants to do, and it doesn't affect the planning. Now here on the 2/3 side, because I was able to show advanced tax strategies for this member, I was able to show this member how to grow the capital, what are the things that need to be put in place in order to do that. The member then the member is now in a position where that's a lot stronger, meaning the member's capital at resignation has grown. So imagine this. I'm going to use an example just so that you can get to see the picture, right? Let's say this is year one. This is now when the member had resigned, and the capital sat at 5 million here. And this is year 4, which is 4 years into the plan. The member's capital now sitting at 6.5 million. Now I'm using examples here because I'm not giving you the exact growth, but I just want you to understand the concept, right? Because the member had the discipline to follow the advice. See, the member followed the advice and we stayed in touch. I was able to constantly give updates to this member, and the member was giving me updates in terms of how they were managing their funds. We were then in a position to do this, where the capital started to grow, and we track this on a more frequent basis. So a lot of this depended not just on my advice alone. As I said, I can be the best advisor to you. I can show you all the techniques, but I'm still at the end of the day dependent on you following that advice. On the flip side, if you are not in a position, if you know you lack the discipline, then you want to consider this carefully. Maybe resignation is not the route for you to take. Maybe you should look at retiring, because retiring forces you to be disciplined. You see, it forces you to take the gratuity. It forces you to take the income. So you want to be mindful of that. Then, if you are still aiming at resignation, the next key thing I want you to be mindful for, and I have shared this in previous videos, remember, you may not know how to save on tax. You may not know how to invest in the markets. You may not even have an interest to do that. You may not know how to create a legacy. So your important step is trying to see if you can find a financial advisor or a specialist who knows how to do that, which means it's a two-step thing. You want to get to a specialist who understands GEPF, understands the process, the intricacies, pre-98, cap leave, medical aid, knowing all of that stuff to create a structure for you. And then you want to have the discipline yourself to know that you can follow that, right? Because the results at the end of the day depend heavily on that. Getting a specialist who knows exactly what they're doing, and you putting yourself in a position where you can follow the guidance. So post a comment below and share with me what have you taken away from this particular video. Absolutely critical in terms of what I'm sharing with you now, because like I said, it's two different members, same structure was being given in terms of both being able to resign. One member has lost R1 million within 6 months, cannot even account for most of it, right? And on the flip side, we've got another member who's grown capital more than when this member had started, despite receiving an income, still able to lead a very comfortable lifestyle. And the capital's grown 1.5 million in just a 4-year period. Right? So post a comment below, share with me, what is your takeaway from this video? What has been helpful for you from this video? And again, share this video amongst your other friends and colleagues. It's important for GEPF members to understand that the decision is not about retiring and resigning. See, it's not about that. You're going to make a decision either route. The decision is about how do you get control over this. And one of the factors that you must take into account is the amount of discipline that you have within yourself, especially in terms of your planning. I'll catch you in the next video.